First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mangyal. Homage to Master Sakya Tsengkong. Homage to the 16th Dharma King Kamada. And homage to Master Dzogchen Tachi. Homage to the true jewels of Dharma. And homage to the main deity of Homa, the warrior Vajra Marichi Bodhisattva. Soon, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the webcast, and our guest of honors today from the Republic of China Executive Union Commission Council Association Secretary General Daniel Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Accountant Detective of Foundation, Dharma Sister Tibetan Buddhist Retreat Center, Anisonam Lamo. Thank you for coming. And from the Republic of China, Overseas Credit Warranty Funds Head Director's wife, Dharma Sister Vivian. And the sun dancers from the 3 Dharma sisters from Taiwan. Today's fire offering is that of Marichi Bodhisattva, and this deity, it's extraordinary. She is an emanation of Vairocana Buddha, but she's also a family of the Tushita heaven, and she moves swiftly. And in Taoism, she's referred as the Mother Dipper. And what's different about her is she's riding on a pig, or 7 pigs, or 7 boars, golden pigs, 7 golden pigs. And she moves very fast, very swift. So she moves very fast. And there are 2 forms. One is like this. The one is like the statue here. And the other one is she was riding on a cart being drawn by the pigs. And this appearance has 3 faces with 3 eyes on each face and 8 arms. And this other appearance is like a goddess, as was mentioned in Vimalakirti Sutra, like a goddess that sprinkle petals, flowers. One is holding a fan, and the other hand is with the mudra. That's giving the vow. So there are two different appearances. Some Marichis are riding on a cart that's being drawn by 7 golden plates. And for mudra, has many different Dharma practices. So, but first let me talk about offerings or fire offerings. I had the feeling that the Homa ceremony done by Buddhist school is not as detailed as other school, because for us we use the rounded pit, but actually the fire pit could be rectangular, round, triangular, or a semicircle. So for purification, enrichment, magnetization, and subjugation, they all need a different form. So if you use a round fire pit and you want to do the triangular homa, then you place like a plate, an iron plate on top that's triangular, or a rectangular plate. Place it around the round fire pit. Or if you want a half round, half circle, you can also create such a plate and place it on top of the fire pit. So the 4 different Dharma practices for purification, enrichment, magnetization, and subjugation would need 4 different kinds of fire pits. But in Buddhist school, we all use the round fire pit. Doesn't matter what kind of fire offering we perform. So that's how wonderful Buddhist school is. Just for convenience sake, so then it becomes negligent. So after teaching you this, you still didn't change it. So Grandmaster just kind of closed one eye and If you still didn't change, oh well, I don't care. Another thing, like say today we had the Marichi Homa, because she's holding an arrow and bow, right? Yes. She has two Vajra names. One is called the Warrior Vajra, the other one is Powerful Vajra. So it's about the same. So when you are at war, then you're like a warrior, and then once you win, then you become powerful. Only in Chinese, you cannot make it sound like the fourth sound in Chinese, because it would mean something else. So this warrior Vajra is really powerful. So if you have a wish during Homa, let me tell you, we have a problem for our Homas. Say if we have a wealth deity, the offerings are about the same. And for this Vajra deity, the offerings are still the same. Bread and buns and food. But for the warrior Vajras, you need to have at least two weapons. One is an arrow and the other one is a bow. You cannot use an iron arrow because you cannot burn it, but you can make it using paper. So you can make a small arrow and bow made of paper and made it as an offering. So that could represent the warrior Vajra or Gurukuli Dharma, because those are their Dharma implements. So whatever deity that you have Homa, then you need to make offerings of their implements. So say for Guru Padmasambhava, then you would use his Kapala or Kachanka, then it would be easy to gain yogic response during Homa. So Padmasambhava was holding Kachanka and wearing a skull crown, or he was holding a Vajra scepter, or Kapala. You can make some like a Kapala as the development. So for whatever deity, you need to make an offering of at least one or two of his implements or her implements. But today, in performing the Marichi Homa, I felt as if I was making offering to the wealth deity. They were all the same stuff, the same offering items. But you don't make offerings of weapons to the warrior Vajra. How could she be powerful that way? Because in performing Homa, we need to obtain the spiritual response. Say, for the dream guidance Tara practice, the most important thing is you need 3 sweet things and 3 white things. The 3 sweet things is the brown sugar, white sugar, and rock sugar. Those are the 3 sweets. And the 3 white things: milk, cow's milk, right? Cheese, white cheese. Wheat flour. So 3 sweets and 3 whites. And for harida or rajas, you need 5 kinds of meats. Some of them are difficult to obtain, like horse meat, beef. No chicken. Because my Chinese zodiac is chicken. Horse meat, cow's meat or beef, lamb. And in the past, it's very difficult to find human's meat. 5 kinds of meat. So for heritage, you need to make offering of these 5 kinds of meat. And you can have some replacements from other different animals. And they have to be raw. And for the warrior raja, they hold traditions. Well, we cannot use pork because the pig is her pet, so we cannot make offering of pork. We cannot kill her pet. So you use your mind and think about it. What kind of deity is the Homa today? And you need to make offering associated with that deity that would match with the deity. Like say for Guru Kuli Buddha Mother, for the 10 directional arrow shooting, you need to make the arrows made of paper or the bows made of paper. If you cannot make them, you do not know how to do origami, you can draw or paint. So you can just draw them on a piece of paper, a bow and an arrow, and then burn them. That means they have their Dharma implements. And for Manjushri Bodhisattva, it has to be something different. Alapajanati. He needs the Manjushri sword. And you can draw them or paint them or make them of paper and then burn them. So you need to be creative. But that's the knowledge about performing homas that you need to do. You need to carry out. Otherwise, for every homa, like here for 6 months, and all the offerings are the same, always the same. For every homa. So of course the basics, like for incense, flowers, lamps, tea and fruit, we need that. And to eradicate black karmas, black sesame seeds, and to increase the white karma, the white sesame seeds, and honey to transform sufferings into happiness and sweetness. To increase good karma, that's white sesame seeds. To eradicate the black karma, that's black sesame seeds, and lamb for the infinite radiance, and the fruits is so that we have improved frictions in our spiritual cultivations, and the food is for our resource needs, and for health you use ginseng, that's good for hormones, and for curing sicknesses you need to make offerings of medicines and herbs. So that's what we use. but I always forgot to mention about the Dharma implements. So I do them step by step. So don't tell the others that didn't hear today. So when they perform komas, they do make offerings the same way. So now I secretly tell you what needs to be given. And you can even draw or paint them. And with our transformation or visualization, they could become their Dharma implements or weapons that they use. So this is the special teaching for today about offerings for Homa. So there are different offerings for different deities. So for the doing guidance of Tara practice, you need 3 whites and 3 sweets. Use tofu. I do. In Chinese, eating tofu means taking advantage of someone. Offering for Padma Kumara, yes, you can use tofu. Eating tofu is the same as taking advantage. Well, I'll tell you in the future. So the 3 sweets, white sugar, brown sugar and rock sugar. And the 3 whites, I know one of them is cheese, white cheese. And the other 2 I will tell you in the future. Next week is Guru Padmasambhava, so you need to remember his crown, his kachanka. If you cannot make kachanka with 3 skulls, you can just draw them, and kapala or skull cup like this. This is kapala. He's holding kapala. And he's also holding a Raja scepter, kachanka, kapala, and wearing Padmasambhava's crown, different from other crowns. Guru Padmasambhava's crown is different. In the past, when I was together with Guru Padmasambhava, we call this crown the crown of King of Ghosts, with the 2 horns. So Guru Padmasambhava's crown is different from the typical crown. Of the past, present and future rely on this Dharma for attaining. That's why all the Dharmagatas lie to this Dharma concept. So the 3 times, like all Buddhas in the 10 directions of the 3 times, that means of the past, the present and the future. So the time dimension, it covers all time dimensions from the very beginning until the very end. call it the 3 times, the past, present, and future. Some fortune tellers would say, well, I can predict of your 3 lives of the 3 times. What does it mean? So your past life, your present life, and your future life. That's what the fortune teller meant. But in Buddhism, it's different. We are not only talking about 3 different lives, that what you were, what you are, what you will be. But when we say about the 3 times, it talks about all the past lives and our present life and all the future lives. So it could be thousands, millions of them. So when we say cause and effect of the 3 times, it doesn't mean just 3 lifetimes. Because fortune teller would like to say that, but in Buddhism we would say that's bullshit. Nonsense. Wow. The fortune teller would know about all the causes and conditions, cause and result, cause and effects of the tens or thousands of lives of the past and the future? No way. They are not Buddhas, right? Did I say something wrong? I never learned to say BS, I only learned to say bullshit. People that like to boast, in Chinese is that. If someone said that they know about the cause and effect of all the 3 times, that's just boasting. It's impossible. That one day Ananda exclaimed that, oh, now I know what cause and effects are. And the Buddha said, what? You're just in kindergarten. How could you understand about cause and effects? About karma, cause and effect of karma. So that's just tricks that the fortune tellers, that people cheat you. They're just cheating you if they claim that they know about all the past and future lives. Impossible. Many fortune tellers love to say that. If you really know about the 3 times, you would be back. So the 10 directions, that's about the spatial dimension. The 3 times are all the time dimension, not just about 3 lives, but 1, the past, represents all infinite past lives and infinite present and the infinite future lives, future times. Someone said, oh, I know about my past 500 lives and my future 500 lives. Well, that's not good, but they are still in kindergarten. To reach university like Dzogchen in order to obtain a doctorate degree, well, even for him, he just knows about medical science. So, do you know all the medical sciences of all your 1,000 lives? No. So whatever changes that you're experiencing now, or the changes that will happen to you in the next few years, it's hard enough to know. Moreover, the future lives, three times, or the past, present, and future, that refer to all the Dharmas, all the Buddhas. So all the rest interpretations of the three times. So all the rest of all space dimensions. So don't be boastful saying that you know about the past lives and future lives. That's just little small potato chip. Tiny little minuscule thing. Knowing about your past life, one past life, one future life, that's just a small potato chip. But the true Tandakaras are all the space dimensions would know of this great perfection Dharma. And what is great perfection Dharma? Is the cultivation practices from the basics, practices for the mundane people, all the way to the practices to achieve Buddha. Oh, great perfection? We know. They must have said it before. The Sravakahood, and then Prateka Buddhahood, Bodhisattvahood, that's the outer. And then the Kriya Tantra, Charya Tantra, Yoga Tantra, that's the inner vehicles. And then the Maha Yoga, Ati Yoga, Anu Yoga, and Ati Yoga. That's the secret dharmas. So the outer three stages, the inner three stages, and the secret three stages all together nice. So all together, the cultivation comes from the mundane beings all the way to the Buddhas. So Mahamudra is the same. From mundane beings all the way to Buddha. There was a great master in the past that formed this movement and said, oh, I give blessing to everyone. This is an offering movement. There was a great master that often formed this movement and said, I'm giving everyone. Everybody mistook it for the Mahamudra, the great mudra. Is the cultivation practices from the mundane to Buddhahood that belongs to the white sect, the Kati. It's quite similar to great perfection. The same great perfections also cultivation practices from mundane to the Buddhahood. So the Bhagavats of the three times attain highest attainment relying on this Dharma. If you need to choose one, would you be ugly or stupid? So ugly or stupid, which one would you choose? None of them. Oh, you're too smart. But if you really have to choose one of the two, Reverend Lily, what would you choose? She shook her head. Did you understand? What are you saying? right away. You can see right away. But if you choose to be stupid, because maybe you never know that you're actually stupid all your life. All your life you maybe never find out that you're very stupid. The master is not saying that the master is smart. Actually, the master is both ugly and stupid. There isn't any part of the master that's good looking. I think I'm ugly. I want to go to Korea, to Seoul. I really want to have plastic surgery on myself, so that I would look like the hardest and young and tall and handsome, like Pei Yongqing, like Jin Cheng-Wu, like all the movie stars. Star coming from the stars, the movie star. It's not that good looking. When I was young, I was more good looking than he is. So after the plastic surgery, nobody would recognize me. Even Amitabha Buddha would not recognize me, and to go to the Western paradise, it would be difficult. Most people cannot leave immigration, so now the plastic surgeons need to give a letter, a photo of before and after the plastic surgery, and how long and where they were staying, and the plastic surgery performed, and only then they could pass through the immigration, because the whole face changed. You just couldn't recognize the person. There are many beautiful ladies in the 50s and 60s, like in Taiwan. They still have come like 20s, 30s. And during the beauty show, they all have the same face. What happened? Because it's through plastic surgery. They have the same template. So 10 of them have the same faces. So medical science is quite shocking. So what did you learn? Cancer. That's also hard. Oncology department, that's also hot. Plastic surgery is also really hot field these days. But there are lots of disputes. Sometimes they take a picture. Who is the hot? Oh, these days, Nancy there? She's not that hot. You know everything about beauties in heavens and on earth. girl. I've seen her on television, and someone wanted to be like her, and it turned out she became like a duck face, like a girl. Then there are lots of disputes. So Dzogchen was smart to choose oncology. That if you cannot cure the patients, they will die. So you try to cure them, and then they die. So doctors can only cure sicknesses, but they cannot cure lives. Because if you can cure the lives, then the patients will not die. If they are fated to die, they will still die. So even as doctors, they also die. So even doctors also die. So that's fate. So the Bhagavas of the three times rely on this great perfection Dharma to attain Buddhahood. From mundane beings all the way to Buddhahood. All the Buddhas of the 10 directions of the three times attain Buddhahood through this Dharma. So the great perfection Dharma is the Dharma for Buddhahood. And there is only one yana, one vehicle. Savaka yana, Pratika Buddha yana, Bodhisattva yana, the Kriya Tantra yana, Charya Tantra yana, Yoga Tantra yana, the Mahayoga, Ani Yoga, Ati Yoga. So it's stage by stage until all the way until you attain Buddhahood. So that's why all the Tathagatas. So what is Tathagata? In Chinese it's like come and go, and actually they seem to come and they seem to go. So in Chinese Tathagata is called life, and you is like seemingly, or it looks like life means come. Actually they seem to come, but actually they don't come. Seem to go, so they seem to come and go, so that represents Buddhas. So we know that life, that's Buddhas, that retreat, which is seemingly go, the Tathagatas that attain Buddhahood, when they gain enlightenment, they will comprehend what Tathagata means. They seem to come and they seem to go. It's like our physical bodies now. Human beings have this physical bodies. This physical body, if you see through it, actually they're composed of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and air, space. So the bones and flesh, that's the earth. The blood, that's the water. Fluids inside the body, that's water. Fire, that's temperature. The wind, that's our breath. Inhalation, exhalation. So that's the wind, or the in-breath or out-breath. And the space, that's our consciousness or our soul. So all of this combined together becomes your physical body. and then they disintegrate, everything's gone. So as a Buddhist, we need to comprehend that when they disperse, that's empty nature, that's emptiness. But when they combine together, then there will be existence. So that's called the appearance of the composition. Everything is, including the buildings, the cars, our physical bodies, and also the camcorders, the equipments, the television sets, anything, it's a composition. Magic trick. Another trick. When a glass is filled with milk, then people would say that's milk. Become, say, juice in there, you would say this is juice. Only when the glass is empty, then people would see that, oh, this is a glass. But if you pour milk into it, you would say, oh, this is milk. And you pour juice into it, then you would say, this is juice. But when it is empty, people would see that it is a glass. So that's why you will be empty. Only then you will be able to see that you are the Tathagata. More than you know you are milk. No, not milk. But Tathagata. It sounds similar. Then you would know that, oh, you're a Tathagata. When you empty yourself, then you would know that you are Tathagata. That's how it is. If you don't empty yourself, you would think that this is what is it that truly belongs to you? Nothing. You need to know that nothing belongs to you that's considered empty. And then you comprehend yourself, and only once you comprehend yourself, you know that you're Buddha. Only the foreigner. He should refer to us as the foreigners. Because America is the place of the white people. Actually not, but it's the Indian people. This color. Because Indians were already here. The natives were here. So you're discovering now? Right there. Ship and land on Japan, and I said I discovered Japan. The Indians already lived here. Is the name of an Indian chief. He was called Seattle. This was the territory of the Indians. It was occupied by the white explorers. So they came here and they said they discovered the new continent. Different customs, but all the peoples have that only this did happen Dharma is the true Buddha Dharma. That why that is rational. So when I teach the Buddha Dharma, I only teach the authentic right from the teacher. It's like this. It mentioned that this and it's the proper right to become Buddhahood level, stage by stage. So that's the vision Chef, could you please cut this piece of beef into 5 or 6 pieces? That's not ration. That's not according to the instructions. The customer wanted about 5 or 6 pieces of beef like that. Not that this one piece being cut into 5 or 6 small pieces. So today in our Buddhist studies, it's the same. All should follow the steps, the instructions. Everything is very important. And for inner practices, channels and light paths. And in the future, when you go on the higher stage, then you can start practicing Dzogchen and Dharma. In the beginning, you practice the Qi channels and light drops, in fire, 2 more. And then you practice the Qi also with the practice of Dharma. That's the inner practices. And those are all the practices within this practice. To rely on spiritual cultivation, we need to be earnest, sincere, and in our practice, most important thing is to give spiritual response first. Once you give spiritual response, you guarantee to go to it. The physical disciples, once you give spiritual response, you experience it. Possible for you to teach them. The first would like to be explored, they would leave because they don't have any experience. But if you do the practices, don't experience anything, you don't have any sensations, that means you're not diligent enough in your practice.